Hi guys, it's Heike Yeats and welcome to another episode of the Pursue Your Spark podcast. Today is not our regular podcast day and this episode is really important. I wanted to share my thoughts, my actions I have taken in the past week, and I want to talk about how do we come together and create change. We're in the midst of COVID-19. And everyone is talking about that they hope everything will go back to normal. And as it turns out, there is no going back to how things were 3 weeks ago and that normalcy of the life we knew back then. And then we're cooped up and afraid of what's next. And George Floyd gets killed in an inhumane and brutal way on camera for the world to see. If you're a person, if you're a human, you got angry, sad, and pissed. I couldn't believe what I saw and what I've heard through these past 2 weeks. I don't have all the answers, but I wanted you to know that I moved to the US from Germany over 30 years ago and was excited to finally live in the land that had a melting pot. Yes, a melting pot. Where I grew up, everybody was white. We have different countries around Germany, but everybody just speaks a different language, eats slightly different food. But there are no colors really to speak of that as you look around. When I came here, what excited me was the different races, the beliefs, religions, all living in a country united, peacefully living together. 2020 has changed all of it. And this change has been here all along, except that I didn't notice. We haven't seen anything like this in our lifetime, and I could never imagine being in a situation that we're in and that my kids are in the same situation and in this whole turmoil and violence. We're still under quarantine, and this quarantine has brought fear, uncertainty. Over 40 million people are unemployed, and we're socially more distanced than ever. And the only thing keeping us connected with friends, family, and what's going on in the world is the internet. It's been 2 weeks since the news broke of George Floyd's brutal death. I went silent and posted a black square on all of my social media pages and stopped posting all of my content in solidarity of the Black Lives Matter movement, so that these posts could be heard and be amplified and people knew more about how to get together, how to connect with others, and what to do next. I'm still crying when I read all the posts that have emerged, and I did not want to stand by the sidelines, but help. But how? It was all so confusing. Where to go? What to do? Should I protest? Should I not? We're in the midst of COVID-19. But what is scarier? A life with brutal police brutality and racial injustice? The fear of COVID? The fact that we even have to choose where to go and what to do to help each other is mind-boggling. But friends, now is the time to take action and not wait for someone else to fix that problem. A problem that has existed for over 300 years and it has never been fixed. Let's come together as a community to correct this injustice once and for all. You know, I am not an authority on equal justice, but I'm learning. You know, I was raised in Germany where an underlying racial bias around people of color existed. But there were no people of color anywhere near us. Wherever we traveled, to Italy, to Spain, to France, everybody back then was white. But the first exposure I had to a black person, a dark colored person, was when my dad went to Kenya. He found the woman he was going to marry, who became my stepmother, and she moved to Germany. That was the first time I really saw a black person close up. And it was an impact in the whole neighborhood. The unfamiliarity of the situation made everybody afraid of who she was, how different she looked. And they felt suspicious, groundless. This suspicion was based on what they had seen on TV or shows involving black people, not on reality. They had nothing to base it on. But that is where I knew I needed to change where I lived. And that was part why I moved to the US, to the melting pot that I so desired. And when I became a mom, I didn't raise my children to see color in friends. They were friends. They were just you and I, and they lived over here, we lived there. They ate this food, we ate that food. The books we read and how we interacted with others with a different color or outside our home was the same. The same respect, the same love, the same laughter and fun together. So during my blackout week, I decided that it's time for me to take concrete action. So I started gathering information by watching movies, reading books, articles on racial justice to become more informed how I could help, really help, not just talk about it, but really help educate myself so I can become better as a human, that I am understand more of what's going on, that I can feel that I can help better with a better understanding. And the 4 steps I took this week, and I know I'm not getting it all right, but I'm working on it. I'm working on being the best self to help my friends and to relate better to what is going on around me and do something. So we started out by watching movies. We're watching on Netflix When They See Us and 13th by Ava DuVernay. And that was mind-boggling, and I highly recommend those 2 movies. Then I am currently reading, but I'm usually listening to my books, How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibrahim X. Kendi. It is, again, mind-blowing. But I didn't stop there, and I said, okay, let's donate some money. We are not rich, but we can spare some money to help others. So we donated to the Equal Justice Initiative. There's so many others that you can help too, but this initiative spoke to us, and we donated money to help them with their initiative and their mission. And then I looked at my podcast and I realized how little diversity I have in my podcast. Women over 50 come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, and I have very little diversity, and I realized that. So I have been actively looking and contacting African American women to be on the show. So if you're listening to this and you're a woman over 50 and you would like to share your story, your message, what you have been through, what your job is, how you've been impacted as an African American woman in your job, in your life, please reach out to me at heike@heikeyates.com and be on my show. I know I haven't done enough, but I am promising to listen more than to speak, to share my platform for inclusion, and that I haven't done enough, but I'm promising to listen more than speak, to share my platform for inclusion, and that it represents diversity on all fronts. But again, this is not enough, and we can't stop here, because if the media dies down and we move on to the next story, we solve nothing and forget about the problem. We need to unite to face and solve this problem together. We have to stand up for what's right and don't tolerate injustice in any form anymore. But you may say, Heike, I am still overwhelmed. I am still so sad or angry. I want to give you 5 steps that you can do, that you can take in the next week so you can be part of the change. Number 1 is stop and think. What stops you from taking action? Any action. I want you to take action that is productive, that is taking you forward and the people around you. Write down, maybe on a piece of paper, how angry or frustrated or sad you are, and what are the things that make you so sad. And think about what this list can help you do to take action. Where do you start first? What is one emotion that you will take and maybe go out and protest? Maybe write a letter to your congressman. Whatever it is, start by looking inward. And then call and text your African American friends and see how they're doing. What's going on in their lives? How you can help them. Ask them how you can help. What are steps that they need you to take to move forward in a constructive way? And I want you to speak up any way you can whenever you see injustice. Don't look the other way. Don't say, I'm going to do something later. Step into it. You will be afraid. I know I will be afraid in some situations to speak up, but there is no way back anymore. And support causes. Google causes. Google African American, Google for causes. They're everywhere. And take action. And take action today. If you live in the Washington, no, that's not what I can say. Once all the museums are back open, go to the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. It is an amazing collection of the history and the stories of African Americans. So you will understand, so you will learn about the history, the pains, and what these people have gone through. So you will see the other side of the story. Let's not stand by and hope this will go away, because if we want a different outcome, we have to do something different. Let's start now. Thank you so much for being part of my community, and stay safe and let's unite. And I'll see you in the next podcast. Ciao. And I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao.